Welcome back. We got another episode. Still no name. Don't know if we'll figure one of those out, but I think we'll just leave that for now. So first off, before we start, again, guys, this channel and this episode is sponsored by Shock Visors. They are our visor sponsor, and we have them on all of our helmets. I'm actually just set up in the back, so I got to outfit all these ones in the back here. But if you do want to check them out, they'll be one of the first links in the description down below. We have a little coupon code for you guys, so you can check them out. Devin, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to go through some of the news that we've seen this past week. So there's a couple cool things that we've seen in the NFL and then throughout some colleges as well. The first thing is that NFL players can now wear the number 0, which is pretty cool. We've seen college guys wear them, but never the NFL. Not since, I think I saw something since 1973. Nobody has worn the number 0.
I'm going to go here.
So definitely pretty cool. And there's already a couple guys who have switched into it. You have Paris Campbell from my Giants. And then right there on the screen, you guys see Calvin Ridley, who is rocking number 0 in his Jaguars uniform right there. And then, there's a lot of comments about it, huh?
Yeah, so I posted about it too. Mine actually, I got some, besides the likes and stuff, there was a decent amount of shares and stuff. I did have a couple NFL guys that shared it. One of them was actually a D lineman.
Oh, nice.
The one guy that can't switch it. I think he wears 91. I won't say the team he's on because he shares my stuff and then leaves me on red all the time. It's a pain. He's not helping me out. But anyways, I asked him if he was mad that he couldn't wear it. He didn't say anything back, but whatever. So this is a skill position only. I don't know. I saw one place use Micah Parsons in their stock image for the post. Yeah. So I don't know if edge rushers are still considered a D lineman or if it's by team. If, one team considers, depends on the scheme. Some teams consider their edge rushers an outside linebacker versus a D lineman. So I don't know if that's a blurry area right now.
Yeah, I think it's more of a blurred line because if you look at the Giants, Kayvon Thibodeau is an edge rusher, but they allow him to wear his number 5. So I think if you're an edge, you're basically kind of a linebacker, so you're basically a skill guy. It's definitely a blurry line.
Yeah. But I don't know, to be honest, I don't really know who's going to switch. For ease, I kind of thought anyone with a 0 at the end of it might, to be honest, just to make it easy for photoshopping, that's why I picked Tyreek Hill here, because he already had a 0 in his number, so it made it a lot easier and quicker, to do. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Calvin Ridley wore a 0 before. I think he was 17 on the Falcons.
I want to say 18, but yeah.
18? 18 sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, 18.
So, I don't really know. Until people... Now, how did you find out Paris Campbell switched? Was it on his Instagram or what?
It was on the Giants' Instagram. And, as a Giants fan, I did see it. They posted all the new numbers. Speaking of other new numbers, Darren Waller is wearing number 12, as you can see right there, which is a weird number for a tight end for sure, but pretty cool. But yeah, there's Paris Campbell 0.
What was he on the 80?
83 with the Raiders.
83 on the Raiders? Okay.
Yep.
That's interesting.
The Giants have somebody on their roster who's number 83 already, so I guess that kind of forced him to pick something new.
Yeah, switch out. Cool. So excited to see more of those people come out with that. I don't really have a problem with it. I don't have a, one way or the other. The only thing I think that obviously the NFL won't do that the college does is when you can two different guys can have the same number. Mm-hmm. The only place I see that maybe no, because they don't even have to in preseason. Because I saw they also just changed the rule for preseason, where before in each preseason game you had to cut, so you'd have to go from 90, 75 or sorry 90, 80, 75 down to your 53-man roster. But now they just basically changed it where you don't have to cut after each preseason game. You can roll with a 90-man roster all the way from the first game to the third game and give everyone a shot. So there's no weekly cuts anymore. But even if it's a 90-man roster, there's no need to, number share.
I think there still might be a need to number share because a lot of teams, especially the Giants, have so many numbers retired that I think they're going to have some overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something, yeah. And then also, I think I saw that punters and kickers can now wear 1 through 49, and then I think it was 80 to 99.
Okay.
I think I saw that somewhere as well, which is, you see a lot of college kickers wearing those 80s and 90s numbers, so I guess it kind of makes sense to, adopt that in the NFL as well.
Yeah. I never actually thought about how in preseason if they allow, I guess because they'd probably be more likely to allow number sharing than they would be to allow out of position numbers. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't want an O-lineman stuck with 95 because there's no other number. So yeah, probably in number sharing is more common in preseason.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, Victor Cruz wore number 3 as a wide receiver before it was, cool to do that. So
yeah. Okay, what else was new?
We also saw that first post right there. Marvin Harrison Jr. of Ohio State is wearing the Nike VaporJet 8.0s. Now, that's one of our first looks at them. We saw Jamar Chase wear them a little bit, but that is another really good look at them. They aren't going to come out until next year, so 2024, but still a really good look at one of the early prototypes of that football glove. And then he's also got some cleat heat as well. So you've got the Nike Dunks there, and then the next slide, these are some LeBron James prototype PEs. In the past, we've seen Ohio State get some really cool LeBron PEs since LeBron's a huge Ohio State fan, and this is going to be the next version. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what they are because it's not really that good of a photo, but I did confirm with Marvin Harrison Jr. that they are LeBron James prototype football cleats, so that's really cool to see.
Now, do we know, so these would be different from the ones that Quan Alexander had that were a LeBron cleat, but those were a Kodak custom skin, where these are an actual Nike prototype?
Yeah, those are going to be directly from Nike, similar to the ones we saw Saquon and Kayvon Thibodeau wear during the season. They had the LeBron Zoom Generation 1 football cleats, and it seems that Ohio State's really the only school that gets those cool LeBron PEs.
Okay. And then so this here, it sucks because on Instagram I can't zoom in because it just rescales. Yeah. But so this looks actually just like more of an Apple Watch or something. That's not the strap, but this is the strap here. So it's a lot bigger on this one than the last one.
Yeah, definitely a lot bigger. It's definitely a similar design, but yeah, that strap is a lot bigger.
Let's see. So which way is that logo face? Logo face is the same. No, it's upside down now of what it was last year.
Is it really?
Yeah, because here, look at the so on this one, the logo with the arrows that way, whereas on this one it's the other way.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So swap the logo, same cuff style, but just bigger. Yeah, still pinky wrap, and then maybe the same knit material.
Yeah, the back of hand material is what they often switch up, so it'll be neat to see what they do. This guy wears so much stuff just going through that post.
Oh, where are we at here? Nope.
So this one, he's got the VaporJet 8s and the Dunks. And then where are we going?
I keep doing, there's too many arrows on Instagram.
I know. Yeah. Okay. And then this one, he's got the black VaporJets. And then this one, he's got white ones, red cleats, VaporJet 2.0, or Vapor Edge 360 Pro 2.0s. And then I think there's even more. There's the VJ8s again. That's the picture I posted on Instagram. Yeah. And then some Ohio State VaporJet 7s and a prototype arm sleeve as well, which is new. It looks really similar to the one OBJ and Sterling Shepard used to wear, but I think it's been kind of tweaked a little bit, and hopefully it comes to market for everybody else.
Yeah, I remember OBJ's had this knit material, but the whole thing was the knit material, where maybe that was an actual baseball sleeve like we talked about. By the way, that is an Apple Watch, now that we can see there's something on it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it looks like they might have converted to football.
Mm-hmm.
And then
this one, he has the old Vapor Edge 360 Elites in the Super Bowl colorway, which is really cool.
This way. Yeah, the Elite versions, the OGs.
Yeah. Those are good. Cool. That's the first pair I tested. And then another shot of the VJ8s there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for
as far as news
goes. Yeah.
So that's it for news this week. Now, the main thing we were actually going to be talking about was going to be Under Armour. So in the last couple of videos, we talked about Nike, we talked about Adidas next, and then the next one, the one that's kind of the most up in the air right now and, maybe looking to restructure, is going to be Under Armour. Now, first off, the big thing that we always have to talk about with Under Armour is they're no longer in the NFL, which does make it tricky on our end. So if you guys don't know, not anyone can just wear anything in the NFL for licensing. So anyone can wear a cutter's glove or a Under Armour glove or Battle Sports, it really doesn't matter what glove you want to wear. But the thing is, if that company is not paying the NFL, which from our sources, they say it's around $10 million a year, if they're not willing to pay the NFL that, they cannot display the logo. The craziest one is Under Armour. Cutters gets away with it all the time because they're known for their color block gloves, which really don't have a prominent Cutters logo on the back. So, like Julian Edelman wore Cutters gloves forever, and they were just Cutters gloves because they were always, color black or block color of red. But Under Armour, you can't. You can't show the Under Armour logo, which is kind of weird for guys like Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, where they're these Under Armour guys, Tom Brady, and they have to put these little ovals over all their stuff, these little sticker ovals over the logos. It's an interesting play. Personally, I don't know how much Under Armour's worth, but I feel like they can justify 10 a year. I don't know. Kind of weird to me.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they're kind of focusing their efforts more on like training stuff. So I guess they're kind of allocating those funds there instead of the NFL, which, I mean, I still agree with you that they should. I mean, the NFL is huge. Why would you not want it? But I'm sure they have their reasons.
Yeah, and I guess if they might have the money, but if the money's not there for football specifically, then it's like they have to pull it from somewhere. Yeah. So I get that. The one thing that you told me about beforehand, though, which I wasn't aware of, but does make sense, would be that Under Armour is actually now the official sponsor of the XFL.
Yeah, so it seems that The Rock, I don't know what his title is with the XFL. Do you happen to know? Is it his thing? Like does he own the whole thing? I have no idea.
I think the XFL is owned in partnership with, or maybe majority owner by $7 Productions. Okay. Or maybe some broader company. Let's see. So, because I know Danny Garcia, his business partner, who also co-owns $7, is also like the chairman or something of the XFL. So I'm assuming it's a part of The Rock's ownership group.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, The Rock is heavily tied with Under Armour. He has his own like training shoe and all this different training apparel. And since he's so tied with the XFL, it seems that they hooked up the league itself. So all the uniforms are XFL, and a lot of the players wear Under Armour gear. I don't think they have to wear Under Armour. I could be wrong, but I have noticed a lot of them wear it. And then, of course, the logo is able to be shown in the XFL when it's not in the NFL.
So let's see. So I'm looking right now. Gloves, Under Armour. Let's see. It does look like it's not owned by $7. It looks like it's more just owned by The Rock and Danny Garcia, who probably are both the majority stakeholders in $7, which is where they probably, obviously they have all their money from. Mm-hmm. But it does make sense that they are, The Rock was probably able to get some kind of deal done with Under Armour for the league. Because again, if the league succeeds, then The Rock succeeds. And if Rock succeeds, it affects Under Armour. So makes sense that it all works in a circle like that. I don't know. It could be one of those things where they're not posting anyone that's not wearing. We got some kickers here. They're in Nike cleats, but that's kind of common. Like kickers, they do their own thing anyways.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at Getty images here, and I've seen, there's some Nike stuff. There's a good brand share amongst all of it, but you do see more guys in Under Armour in the XFL than you do in the NFL, for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, it could just be on their Instagram if, part of their deal is they're trying not to post anyone that isn't wearing all Under Armour. So yeah, maybe I'm looking in the wrong spot anyways. Have you watched any XFL so far?
I have not, no. I keep meaning to, but I never actually do. I never know when they play, but I think it's on Sunday, so it shouldn't be that hard to, watch.
Yeah, like ever since I moved out and I don't have cable, I don't get a lot of stuff. The only thing I'm willing to pay for it's called DAZN. So DAZN owns the rights to NFL in Canada for streaming. So there's no like NFL like Sunday, or no. I think there is still NFL Sunday Ticket, but it's a lot more expensive than DAZN. DAZN is like a platform that has like boxing, some soccer, a little bit of MMA, but not a lot of mainstream stuff. You get most of like the big boxing fights on it that aren't like the pay-per-view fights, the big ones. But yeah, DAZN owns the rights to NFL in Canada. So that's basically how I watch all the games. It's just like any other streaming platform. Mm-hmm. The only thing is they have a really pain in the ass deal where they have a deal with Apple TV as well. where you can only watch a multi-box. So, say 4 games at once on one TV. Mm-hmm. If you're streaming to Zone through an Apple TV, you know what I mean? So it's like, if I just have DAZN installed on my TV as the app, I can't do the quad box or anything.
Gotcha.
And even though I own Apple TV Plus, whatever the streaming is, that's still obviously, that doesn't do it. So it's like, you have to have the hardware Apple TV plugged into your TV and then use that to get DAZN through it to get the box views and stuff, which is it's already super expensive, and they upped the price $50 this year for it. It's not, Jeez. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But again, that's kind of the way things go here.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in the XFL, not in the NFL. Now, I don't know if that contributed to some of their athletes, I guess. So I do know, we know that their main athlete for sure is going to be Justin Jefferson. They don't have a lot. Who else do they have still?
So there's Jonathan Taylor, who is on your Indianapolis Colts. And then you have Kyle Hamilton, who was a rookie last year. He's a safety for the Ravens. And then you have Chase Young, who is on the Commanders. He hasn't played in a bit. And then there's a couple other guys who I'm not really sure if they're still on Under Armour, if they just wear Under Armour. You've got guys like Randall Cobb. DK Metcalf is one of those names that I'm pretty sure he's switching over to Adidas based on, what he's been wearing. We talked about that a little bit in the Adidas video. Then you got guys like Tom Brady, who, maybe he's not fully retired yet. He probably is by now, but he was an Under Armour guy through and through, but really not a lot of guys anymore. They used to have more, but they're definitely, pulling out of the NFL like we talked about.
Yeah, but it's weird though, because in one way, where with DK, they thought they were kind of pulling out, and then it feels like with Justin, they're going back in.
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah, they have to have one athlete at least who's a big name in the NFL. They have to have somebody just to keep up some type of something going on, And they do go all in with Justin Jefferson. We've posted some of the PEs they've cooked up for him, this past season. And then it helps that he's had some really incredible seasons. But they do a lot of great stuff for him. So it's, at least they're still doing something, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not a ton. And I don't think their focus is on NCAA either, at least that much for football. I know they still have Maryland, which makes sense because, Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't really know of many others off the top of my head. Navy?
I think Navy.
Navy used to be.
Wisconsin's Under Armour still. Something telling me UAB, which is a random school to think of, but I feel like they're still Under Armour. There's definitely more, but they're not coming to my mind. But they've lost a lot. They've kind of just been slowly dwindling. I know Texas Tech is still Under Armour, right?
Yeah.
But they've definitely been dwindling. They used to have UCLA. UCLA went over to Jordan Brand this past year, the year before.
Right.
So they're just kind of pulling out of the football space as a whole, it seems.
Yeah, which is weird. So I guess that's a good look into, if they're pulling out, what are they doing for the product side still. Now, we got some early stuff from Under Armour, but we couldn't keep it. We had to send it back.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much we can talk about what we did with Justin Jefferson, but it was basically sent us his stuff, film your video, put it right back in a box and ship it right back, and overnighted it. Sometimes with some of the PEs we get from some of these guys, they're not their actual PEs, or they are their PEs, but they're not wearing them. A good example is the Cooper Cup ones, the VJ7s, where he was still using his VJ6s, and anyways, he was injured anyways. So it's, sometimes they're not game worn or going to be used, or experimental colorways or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Justin Jefferson's ones were his legit cleats, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so they shipped us the cleats, and they're like, all right, ship these back, 2-day shipping, and then they got them back, and then they sent them to Justin Jefferson, and then he wore them that week. So it's kind of cool to, get my hands on something that he's going to wear in the future. But yeah, we couldn't keep them.
They'd probably get mad, but sometimes we got to sneak a little Easter egg in there for him.
Yeah.
Like a little note or something shoved into the toe.
Yeah, I thought about doing something like that, but I didn't want to get in trouble with them.
Yeah. You know what I did? So when I went to a Cowboys game about 5 years ago, I went to the Cowboys. So I've only been to a couple NFL games. All the ones I've been to have been pretty well known. I've only been to 4. So the first one I went to was Colts in San Diego. It was where the Manning and Rivers still. Vinatieri missed a 20-yard shank to win the game back in earlier 2000s. That one was super well known for Vinatieri missing that kick. Also, that's when they didn't really have good reviews yet and camera angles. There was like an interception where it bounced off the guy's heel, and they were trying to see if it was intercepted and in the end zone. It was, but it took like an hour, or at least when I was a kid, it felt like an hour for them to try and like actually get the right view. So I've been to that one. The next one I went to was this one, which was the Cowboys and Green Bay Packers. Or the meme where it's the guy saying, "Oh, these guys left Rodgers 40 seconds, like they have no idea." Mm-hmm. Right? Dak scored on a read option right in front of us, and then Aaron Rodgers marches down, Devontae in the corner, game done. I went to that one. Last year, I went to the Colts Broncos tied 9-9 into overtime game, where the stadium was clearing out going into overtime. Yeah, Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then I also went to the Colts Cowboys this year where it was close, and then the Cowboys put up like 35 in a quarter. It was like 55-19 or something was the final.
Jeez.
So I've been to some. The Colts Broncos is the only time I've ever seen my team win, which is hilarious. But the way they won too was just, obviously, as everyone knows, was awful. But anyways, back to the main story was when I went to that Cowboys and Packers game, I made some lineman football business cards, had all my socials and everything, and I sprinkled them everywhere. Like we did a stadium tour, so I sprinkled them in some of the suites around the stadium. I tried to put some in like Jerry Jones' suite. I tried to in their media room you could go in. There's like a podium, and then there's all the seats the media people sit in. So I took a bunch of them and I shoved them inside the cushions of the seats, like kind of between the cushion and the metal that it's connected to like sandwich them in there. I put some inside the podium. I tried hiding them everywhere. Nothing happened. And then like a month later, I got a phone call, and it was them saying it was their social team and they found it. And turns out, and I was so pumped. Like at this point I was still pretty small and, or at least comparative to now. And turns out it was my freaking brother and his girlfriend. They used a fake number.
Oh, that's too bad. Right?
They put it as a Texas area code, and they called me saying it. And then at some point, I heard my brother pissing laughing in the background. I was so mad at him. But yeah, that's the closest I've come. So I guess what is going to be out for Under Armour this year, and then we'll look at what is out right now.
Okay, so
should we do it the other way? Should we start with what's out now, or what will come out this year?
I feel like everything that's coming out is on their website already. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to think. It's not
let's
really
look here
much.
And just see.
Yeah, let's take a look at the catalog.
Let's see what we got. So Under Armour, there's still. You know what's weird? IMG is kind of weird in my opinion. Like it's just weird that they're like this Zenith sponsored school.
Yeah, that's a light helmet too.
And then there's another guy in light. It's kind of, I don't know, like I just assumes like IMG being like the biggest name in high school that they'd be like a Nike school.
Yeah.
Or like I honestly just assumed if they were Under Armour and Zenith being one of the biggest high school, sports programs, not even just football, but just athletic programs, Nike or Adidas or someone would throw a bigger bag at them than frankly Zenith or Under Armour could afford to. But
yeah, that is weird.
They might have a good partner and they're super happy with them, and that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do they have any of their schools in here? So they have Auburn. IMG. This is Nebraska, or where did Clowney go?
Who?
Jadeveon Clowney. He went to an Under Armour.
South Carolina or South Carolina or North Carolina.
I don't know if this is Texas Tech.
Yeah, but
that's
no, I think you're right about South. Is it South or North? I can't remember. There's Carolina. Oh yeah, so it's SC. So South Carolina. Yeah. Oh, Northwestern. Yeah,
Northwestern
Navy. Has some good linemen coming out of the draft. Montana State.
Let's see, Utah.
They have more than I thought.
Texas Tech, a little bit of that. IMG. Ooh, Notre Dame still Under Armour?
I don't. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, they haven't switched. They're really tied with Under Armour. They've been close for a minute.
Yeah. So some new compression stuff. It looks like we don't really talk a lot about girdles on the channel, and sometimes we get asked about them.
Yeah,
not a ton. I know it's the girdles have come a long way. When I first started playing, girdles were like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
Especially the built-in pads ones.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in like high school, these were starting to become more popular.
Wow.
But now it seems just kind of like it's standard.
Yeah, it's just so much easier, you know.
Yeah. So compression sleeves, some of this stuff, Under Armour chin strap, had that stuff forever. Football towel looks no different. Skull caps, the ones we already know. Hand warmer, same. Mouth guards, Soother style. I do have some of these. The chrome is really nice. Same max airflow style as like Shock Doctor. All of them kind of do this now.
I'm pretty sure those are built by Shock Doctor. You see the Shock Doctor logo at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are Under Armour, I guess, contracts them to make them for them.
Yeah.
So here are the cleats. So the only new one on this page is that one right there, and that's going to be the Under Armour Blur Smoke 2.0 MC. MC stands for molded cleat, which I recently learned. These are the cleat that Justin Jefferson kind of wore as prototypes for a lot of the season. It's just a new lightweight option from them. It still has the same cleat as the first Blur. Like I said, we did get these for a brief bit of time, and they felt really good. I couldn't try them on because they were Justin Jefferson's, but the qualities, the materials, everything felt pretty good about these cleats, and they're pretty light too, so that's good.
But we are working on getting the samples right now, so that's good. Yeah. We'll get more, and not just samples. I made a video about it because I don't know if you saw the one I put up, the short about why we haven't reviewed the Edge Pro 2s.
I did, yeah.
Did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of just got frustrated one night, and I was like, yeah, we should be honest about like some of these things. Like, sometimes when we're working with companies, they just only want to send us the samples of like what's cool and they can get their hands, and like the sizes that are actually less or more common, they don't really want to give us because they can sell them. And it's really tough apparently still right now with supply chain covering from COVID, where they're like, yeah, you know, it's going to be really tough for me to get a 12.5 at inventory, but kind of the way it is. Yeah. So we have the Under Armour Spotlight Luxe 2.0. This one, again, I do have my inside sources, not at Under Armour, but at some teams where they had 20 plus pairs of these break off. And this is actually a good photo to represent it, where basically this plastic stud is like a male to female, you know, fit together piece, where this stud goes into the actual base plate. The amount of guys or photos he sent me of a literal trash can full of these broken off and destroyed cleats. Not good.
Yeah.
Let's see. So same for this year are going to be the highlights. Now, I actually think I like the highlights more than you. I don't think you really liked part of this.
They were bad. I just remember that those straps kind of dug into the top of my foot. That was kind of my only problem with them. I think. Yeah. I'd have to rewatch the review.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So those are going to be the same colorways, it looks like. I'm personally not a fan of when companies do their colors and they don't give you a way out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like no matter what, unless you go white, which still has it, you're still going to have these patterns and stuff showing. The patterns I don't hate as much, but
the neon.
I think if you can't have a fully blacked out cleat or a fully white out, it's kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially if you're like an Under Armour, if you like Under Armour and your team is red and blue, and then you have like this little bit of yellow showing, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now for the hammers, there's two models. They have the Hammer MC, which I have, and the Hammer D. The D, I'm not sure why, but it stands for screw-in studs. So these are going to be your replaceable screw-ins, better for longer stuff. And then the MC is going to be your molded.
Yeah, I think the D stands for detachable.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, the weird thing I always found with the Under Armour hammers is when you pick them up, they feel so much heavier than all the other LINEMAN cleats.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. They're all around 18 ounces. But I think it's because just the majority of the weight is in the traction plate, so it feels like the center of gravity is kind of lower in your hand.
Yeah.
Where the other ones are just like, you know, my Four Savages, they're just the whole thing is heavy. So it's weird. Every time I pick them up, it feels like a heavier cleat than everything else, even though when you put it on the scale, it's not. A little weird. Not in love with this thing. Obviously, I didn't game test it to see if it does stay strapped up. I understand the point behind it, but even with some of my cleats, like say it depends what they're trying to solve. If they're trying to solve the cutting of the laces, then I understand it if you don't want the laces to be stepped on here. But I think they market it as a pellet protect, which provides lace protection and locked in fit, helps keep the turf out. Almost all year, I was wearing my Freak Ultra 22s, which have no laces or no ways for pellets to get in. And pellets still get in a ton through the ankle cuff.
Yeah. So
I don't really see this doing anything for the pellets. I understand from a marketing perspective, the pellet protect, it's a cool name. But if it's A purpose is pellets and its B purpose is protection, I feel like it should be the other way around because everything's coming through up here. But as far as design goes, it is nice that honestly these are in stock at places and they do have at least a couple different colorways. So, can't be mad at that. Socks, they have again a couple different models. Gloves, what's new? So we have
a new glove, and it's going to be that one right there, the red one, the UA Blur. I'm pretty sure those are new. We had these also briefly, but we had to send them back. They felt pretty good. They fit good. They're tight. The materials are pretty good. They're lightweight, and I think they still have Under Armour's. What do they have? What's their glue grip? Glue grip, yeah. Yep. But they don't seem crazy or anything, but they're pretty good. But I think that's really the only new. Well, it's the only new receiver glove. There is a new lineman glove, but we'll hit that in a second. Then you have the F8 again, which is a good glove, and then something unique about Under Armour is they're starting to make all these products in women's sizes. So right here you have the UA women's F8 football gloves, and then they also on their website, which we'll check out in a bit, have some cleats in women's sizes as well, which is pretty cool.
Do we know, because I know All Season is one of the companies where they're promoting that they don't just turn a youth version of a cleat or a glove into a women's by just renaming the size and giving it its own inventory. Do we know if this is actually a redesign or if it's actually just like, say, a women's small to XL would be like a women's small would be like a child medium or something. You know what I mean? Like if it's actually the same model.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I'd like to get my hands on them and just see if the quality and the materials are the same as the adult or the youth.
Personally, if I was any of these brands where they're getting into football, it seems like this year is a tester year where they're moving towards women's flag football and flag football in general. But maybe this would be the year where a lot of them are going, hey, let's just take the kids and change them to women's sizes and see the perception. And then if the perception is good, then the next year is, okay, let's actually make them fit a little better and actually like make dedicated, kind of dip your toes in. Yeah. Under Armour visor, nothing new there. Sideline gloves, visor clips, which Nike doesn't allow you, I don't think, to buy them separately.
I don't think so, no. But yeah, that's a new, not new to this year, but that's a new visor plastic, and those are new clips. It's not the same one that they had for like 5 years. They did update it a little bit. It's a little bit different. And then there's the combat football gloves as well. They're on the left.
Oh, so a new combat for this year.
Yep. We had these for a little bit as well. Do you remember?
The combat?
Yep. We have a short on them. So remember they sent, I think it was 2 lefts. It was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
But they felt pretty good. I don't really do a ton of lineman stuff, but they're pretty padded. They're pretty thick, and they seem like they'll live up to the name combat, because they'll protect your hands in the trenches pretty good. And you can kind of see they have one of those kind of gel pads there at the base of the palm.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. And then some good back of hand padding as well.
Yeah. And it looks like they have a white. It'll be the main here, but then I guess they'll make that material white. So honestly, it looks like better than last year. And I'm excited to get my hands on them at some point. The one thing I will say is that Under Armour had the best visor clips first, and then everyone else copied them.
Absolutely, dude. I had some from Green Gridiron when they might still be doing the colored ones, but I got some for my school's colors, right when I saw them, and they were so good.
I remember Green Gridiron back in the day. They sent me a pair of unbranded UA clips with Superman logos on them.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I got so many comments, not even like on in person, but like Instagram comments stuff constantly about where did you get those Superman visor clips?
Yeah.
I actually wonder if that was a thing with maybe Cam Newton related. I never put two and two together, but because he was Under Armour.
Yeah. Yeah, it might have been.
Okay, just some more team gear. Yeah. Is that it?
I think so. Like I said, there's not really a ton of stuff, gear related from Under Armour. It's just a couple new products. There's new pair of cleats, a couple new pairs of gloves, and then just a re-roll out of the same stuff that we've already covered.
Yeah, I mean, as far as LINEMAN gloves go, the combats were the back of hand kind of sucked. The only thing I noticed on the ones when we did that short was they changed the grip back to a more receiver style grip, right? It's more of a stickier.
I can't remember. I'd have to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. Which Under Armour last year they came out with, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever they had the last combat, they made a grip equivalent to the Magnet grip. Not Magnet grip.
Hydra grip.
Hydra grip that the D-Tax had, and actually, well, the D-Tax Hydra grip was a little bit thinner than the Hyper Beast Hydra grip, a little different, but even this was the first other friction grip, and I thought Under Armour nailed it.
Yeah.
Adidas does what do? They do a receiver grip. Cutters does like a felt material inside. Easily by far the worst of all of them.
Yeah. Is
the felt that they still use. It rips. It holds in moisture. It is just, it's not good. But yeah, I was honestly like kind of a little bit upset when I saw that they went away from that. But now I just want to quickly look and see what they have for this year already out as far as colorways go, because this always doesn't give us the best representation of that. No, why did it do it?
So you'll just have to go to men's and then sports and then football. Yep. It's the fourth. Oh, you got it. I don't know what I saw. And then I usually sort by new just so we get to see what's new first. On the right side, there's a sort thing. Yeah. All right. So what we got? They still have the same highlight football glove, which I've yet to try, but I know Jonathan Taylor, who we talked about earlier, wears these gloves religiously. So they must be. I mean, they look a lot like the Nike Superbets, just a padded back of hand receiver glove. And then what else we got? So they have some.
I really like those, but I've never had my hands on them.
Yeah, no, I don't know how. They've been out for a couple of years now, so they haven't updated them, but I also haven't gotten them any. So. Well, we've got a couple different colorways of the Spotlight Cologne MC. There's a Black History Month pair for $140. Then they have some team colorways there in the middle, which is pretty nice. They have some crazy colorways as well. Not too bad. There's the that top left. There's the World Tour pair of the Under Armour Blur Smoke 2.0s. And you want to click on those? Because I don't know if we'll see the tongue. The tongue has a QR code, which actually leads to a Spotify playlist that Under Armour created for football players. So it's kind of a cool little detail and story there.
I was also curious because I know Under Armour had the deal with DC for some, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember when Under Armour had Superman, Batman?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. I wonder if this is very Batman-esque.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And I'm just curious about some of those little details, if that's how things carry forward. And I don't know if they still have that deal anymore. But it's just interesting to think of where some people's design ideas might come from.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, then they also have these in regular colorways as well. If we go back, right there on the left side, pretty much every color you could possibly need. They look really good, honestly. They look a lot better than I expected them to. Like in the team colors. You know, they kept it simple. They just team color, and they've got pretty much every color you could need.
Yeah, and like honestly with Under Armour, they put in, it's one thing where like, you know, as much as you want to give them shit about not being in the NFL, like as far as cool colorways and stuff, it's, at least right now, it's like Adidas, Under Armour, and then Nike's third.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, like I honestly love the way some of these
look. Like, I mean, it's a really good looking cleat. It's a good silhouette.
Yeah.
Is there any details on the tongue? I can't really tell. It's got something on it. I know Justin Jefferson's pair had his number 18 and a jet, but I can't tell what they have. Okay, so it's more of those hazard waist details. That's cool. That insole looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Looks aerated.
With like an arrow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Maybe to like sink your heel on this UA logo or something. Like you're supposed to push it back far.
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't love the hazard stuff. I never have. I've never got it.
Yeah, but I'm not a huge fan of it either. But that's that same traction plate we saw on the first Blurs, which is pretty good. The studs are kind of like rubbery, which might be the reason that they're. I mean, this is not the same ones as the Spotlight, but they're kind of rubbery. They kind of like move around. I remember when we did the review video, I was showing them, and I could like wiggle the stud with my finger if I push hard enough. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But they grip pretty good. So, but I don't know about the durability. But not a bad looking cleat.
Come on, let me out of here. All right, here we go. Why won't they let me out?
I don't know.
Okay.
There we go.
So let's see. We have those. We have some of the molded versions. Mouthguard we talked about. Hammers. And they have some cooler colorways here that most lineman cleats, at least right now, don't have. At least a little different. Or if it's just my Wi-Fi today being bad, but whatever. So we have the F8s, which are not new, same as last year.
Yep.
Visor clips you can buy for yourself, spotlights and all their other colorways, which I actually think look great.
They're good looking cleat. Yeah, the booty on them is like really not tight.
Yeah. And obviously all the ones we talked about there. So that's going to be pretty much it from Under Armour this year. A couple new things, which is still good compared to some other people, where I'm happy with it, and I'm actually quite excited to test out the Under Armour stuff this year and kind of see where they're trying to position themselves. The last thing we really want to talk about is some of we looked at it with Nike, and it was actually really interesting, and I didn't think about it, and I kind of want to do it with Under Armour again, was looking at their socials and just seeing like how often they're posting and what they're promoting, and that might give you a better idea about what they're actually trying to do in the future here. So that's basically the last thing we got to go through here. So like we talked about, again, a lot of people are pushing now for the women's focus for the flag football. It is apparently growing very fast from what we can see.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Coach Aaron I don't know. So he's some sort of QB trainer?
Yeah, looks like.
All right.
So a bunch of stuff from him, a little bit of their college stuff.
I think that's XFL, right?
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
XFL. Yeah. These are the Black History Month, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are sick. I think those are dope.
Details.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're actually really nice. And that seems like an Adidas thing, like that they just do crazy stuff. And I like to see Under Armour do it. This was from their All-American game, which we did have some products for that we showed off.
Yep.
We had, the spotlights?
I think we had the clone Blur 2.0s. Again, the same ones that we had for Jay Jettas. And then we had the gloves as well, I think.
Maybe.
Like I said, we had them for such a short period of time, I can't even remember.
Yeah, you can't even go grab them. So that's going to be their stuff. Hey, this is going to be the new combat.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see, so this will all be white if there's the white version, and then the black will be all black. I haven't actually seen those yet outside of that colorway. So those will be that. Those are the other ones we talked about. I still want some good detail shots, but I know I'm not going to get them. I think we had...
Did we have the spotlights? Maybe we did.
I think we had the spotlights.
Yeah.
And then, what is this? They're all American. UA next.
Yeah.
And it's all part of the... It's kind of confusing to me, being a Canadian, how you guys have... there's an Under Armour All-American... So there's an Under Armour All-American game, there's an Adidas All-American game.
One is All-American and one is All-America. I don't know which is which. But there's two games, and they have a one-letter difference, and two different brands sponsor them.
Okay.
So it is pretty confusing.
And what are these?
So that is the Under Armour Nitros, right? They're that's an old silhouette. I think TJ Watt still wears them, though. but I haven't seen them for sale in a while. I think Chase Young also might still wear them. I know Chase Young was swapping between the Cam Newton ones and then those.
Yeah.
Or something similar. There's a couple different variations of those. I think they're called the Nitro. Got some Utah. Yeah, there's Notre Dame. Those uniforms are pretty sick.
Those look like he was wearing the Hammers, to be honest.
I know. Yeah, there they are. How long ago was this? Oh, only 24 weeks ago.
Those are a different traction plate, I think.
Yeah, you're right. That's the old hammer plate, right? Or, yeah, the older hammer plate. The spine plate. That's what I'm looking for. Spine.
These look way better than what we get.
They do, yeah.
Like, those are honestly, like, even if pellet protect or non-pellet protect, like, this traction plate looks a lot better than the one available to the public.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe it's just because it's gold and it makes me partial to it, but...
Maybe.
Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it from this year. I want to see... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not much, but not bad, though.
No, and honestly, it's weird to think that, you know, technically, even though you think about Nike versus Under Armour, I'm, to be honest, more excited for what Under Armour's dropping this year than Nike right now, only because, you know, especially we know more about it and what's going to be happening. But it looks at least like they have a couple cool things that are coming out. I like the colorways. Under Armour and Adidas are different from Nike, where Nike just drops stuff throughout the year where, you know, they're a little more clear than Nike about what's coming out. You know, Adidas isn't always clear about their colorways because they do a lot of those storytelling, you know, kind of packs. Mm-hmm. But it is really cool to see what Under Armour is doing so far as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, they're doing some good stuff. The products are definitely kind of on the uptrend as far as performance goes. They had some really good years back when I was in high school, like 2014. They were making like all the cool highlights and stuff. And then I feel like they kind of dipped off the last couple of years, but these products from last year and now this year are pretty solid, I'd have to say. So
the one thing I will say is, I know, like, I think the highlights are maybe one of the worst looking cleats of all time.
Really?
And I don't understand why they got so much hype. I have a pair in the background and I hate them.
I had two pairs. I had the first one with I can't remember what it was called. Which pair? Let me see which pair you have. Yeah, no, I had the two versions before that pair. That was the pair I didn't get.
These are the most recent of them.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah, I don't know much about those ones, but I had the old clutch fit ones, the first ones, and then the ones after that. And I liked them because they're just like a nice high top, low weight skill cleat in a way.
I get it, but I think the high top look with them, I think it just looked weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't like it. I never did. I don't know. That was one thing where I've never agreed with most people on is the highlights, because the highlights had their time when it was like, holy man, you like seeing someone in these highlights, like send back like 2015, 2014, you know, a long time ago. Then they dropped the Cam Newton version, like the Superman ones that had like a cape off the back of them and all that kind of stuff, which was, you know, cool. But yeah, I never liked them.
No.
All right. Well, that's all I got time for today. I got to run. We'll figure out some topics for next week. Again, if you guys did like this, leave a comment down below about other stuff you want us to talk about, and maybe some ideas about what we could call this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.